The creation itself is your spirit, and where the spirit is, that is also freedom. Edward Billy Meier was told by his childhood extraterrestrial teacher, Svarth, that the greatest problem of Earth humanity is its ignorance regarding the creation and its laws and directives. As far as I understand it, the creational laws and directives are laws and directives of which we become aware the more we explore the teachings of the Spirit. Naturally, the Book of Truth, produced by Billy Meier with Ishwish Pathar, contains extensive teaching to help us understand this. But, as a guide, and in the meantime while some of us endeavor to learn German, it is helpful to hear what some of these laws are, according to Meier and the Pliaren. And how is a creational law different to a creational directive? Guido Mussibruger has a helpful and clear explanation from Billy Meier in his English version of And Still They Fly. Also in figures an interview with a UFO contactee. For instance, one of the most significant laws states that the errors humans commit should not be condemned, because only by committing errors can humans evolve. Hence, humans can learn from the mistakes they make. After committing mistakes, they will eventually recognize this fact, reflect on them, and remedy their errors. And, as a rule, they will become more knowledgeable and will refrain from making the same mistakes again, at least not in the identical ways, and thus they make progress. This also signifies that humans must thoroughly reflect on all matters so as to recognize where they are prone to making mistakes and to gather new knowledge, which will lead them to success and advancement. Success and advancement will be achieved by pensive thought, and this is another important creational natural law without which any evolution is impossible. A law, therefore, is an established and irrevocable rule which, when implemented and followed, prevents the life form from experiencing harm of any kind. A directive, by contrast, is a mere recommendation which guides the person in a specific direction where some initiative should be taken or disregarded and, as a consequence, something good or bad, respectively something positive or negative, will occur. The following recommendations represent such creational natural directives: you shall not kill in depravity. You shall not violate your covenant with creation. You shall not steal or expropriate from others. You shall not blaspheme the truth, and so forth. The following lines are from the book Arahatatthasatha, written down 1975 by Billy Meier, as directed by the we form known by the Sanskrit name Arahatatthasatha, which means the precious one who contemplates the times. The law of love is the statute of all creational laws, and this law embodies also the statute for you earth people. Whoever does not exercise universal love to all, offends against a directive of the order, and against a law of the determination. OM says that the unjust and unknowing invent rivals for creation, which are gods and idols and the like, and that are also a single god or a single idol. They falsely attribute sons and daughters, angels and saints to creation. Hence they do the same with their god or idols or with their myriad of gods, idols and the like. But the creation is holy and is raised above all lies and inventions, and its laws and directives and their sevenfold order are also holy and exalted. This teaching tells us that creation can have no rival. A human being named God cannot be on a par with creation. OM says that creation is the creation, and is the highest authority. It stands in immeasurable size and completeness over all its creations, which are creations of the creation, and that are humans and animals and plants of all kind, and worlds and suns, galaxies, space and time, light and darkness, and all other hosts of life that exist of every kind. The creation is without gender, and it is neither man nor woman, neither chaste nor unchaste. It is neither space, nor non-space, neither time or beyond time, because the creation is truthfully spirit, and spirit power, and light, and it is truly pure spirit energy in conscious form. We can look to and recognize signs of creation so that they can help and guide us in leading the right life. The prophet says that the signs of creation are laid out to the last detail for all hosts of life and the people, so that they recognize and adhere to them and take them as help towards the right kind of life. In the same way, the human also looks at the stars in the heaven as help to maintain his direction in the darkness on the land, or in the rolling waters of the ocean, or in the air above the earth and in the airless space of outer space. And the signs of creation are laid out to the last detail and given to all hosts of life and the people, so that the human recognizes and follows the truth, and is obedient to the laws and directives of creation, and is knowledgeable, wise, attentive and reverential. If we look at the blooms and fruit of plants, bushes and trees, if they bring forth their blooms and fruit, and as they ripen and bring new seeds, we can recognize in them the signs of the infinite love of the creation and the knowledge, the truth, the wisdom and the patience, that there, altogether, are discernible and are anchored in the laws and directives, and in the sevenfold order of creation. In OM Canon 38 the Ishwish instructs the prophet to go forth and teach the people and speak to them, and tell them that the laws and directives of nature are the laws and directives of the creation. The smallest flower which the human puts to his breast would never bloom in a garden bed or between the grasses of the fields without the effect of creation, which is in unison with the most distant worlds. Yet oh, how very few people of the earth suspect or know this. In the imagination of many earth humans, the circle of all powers is restricted on a tiny circumference. They erroneously believe that all that happens on earth only has its effect on earth, and only on earth. They do not see all the countless world bodies that are entirely or manifold greater than the earth's sphere, but which only shimmer as small stars out of the depths of the universes. And all these stars appear to them at the most only to be a beautification of the night. The human is inattentive to the fact that he, the human, and the earth, can also only live through the existence of those countless stars. OM tells us that all the signs of creation are only visible and recognizable to any who are truly knowing and righteous, or to any who are honestly going on the way to knowledge and to righteousness and to truth, and who are far from any belief. Belief is only ignorant acceptance. Only knowing truth secures in itself true truth and truthful knowledge. Arahat Athasatha delivers straightforward, blunt advice, as does the prophet, often in the form of stern warnings. This following section from the book Arahat Athasatha has also been included in English in the Figu booklet Life in Spiritual and Physical. Truly, it is in the interest of every human being to strive for, and attain, spiritual and conscious expansion and depth, in order to revise his present concept of life. It is a concept of life, which had followed purely materialistic and unreal paths of faith as its course and, as a consequence, propelled the truth of the Spirit into severe damnation. A reversal, however, will not be easy, because its path is overgrown with vines and thorns. Concerning the most crucial truths, frequently opposite directions have to be taken, because man must learn that through the existence of his creative spirit, he possesses for all duration of time an immortal part, namely the spirit, a spirit that works together with the creative realm and does not play a servile role as it has been stated by cults. In fact, each human being must prove to himself that his spirit works in a creative manner, and that he must find his perfection within himself, to ensure perfection in creation itself. For those who have gained this knowledge, there will grow an inescapable obligation to put their own material life in the background, and to guide their spiritual existence toward creation's monumental viewpoints, which contain an endless continuity in their constant transformation. The Arahat Athasatha explains further that it is important that we recall the creative root of our being in order to unite through true spiritual introspection with all that which is within ourselves, which is of the all-great time. But this doesn't mean that we neglect our physical existence. It says we should direct our vision unwaveringly towards the tasks of our life on earth, with the knowledge that the realm of coarse matter rules in this plane and the realm of fine matter in the beyond. Nevertheless, these two divided spheres of the here and the beyond are one single realm, existing in the same place, in the same time-space, only in another dimension. All these teachings stress the importance of contemplation, so that we come to appreciate the expressions of creation all around us and within us. In OM the prophet says the following: "Truly some weak mortals yearn after extraordinary things and expect a sign from heaven. Yet look, you short-sighted ones. Why do you seek signs from heaven when only that which your hand touches and that your eyes see is wonderful?" In a later canon the prophet says this: "Human of the earth, how can you only be in low spirits if, in the wonderful shine of a spring morning, the far landscape with all its radiating flowers and blooms, and with their forests, lakes, rivers and mountains, swims around you like a fantastic, creational dream?" Semyaza, the daughter of the Ishwishpatha, is quoted in OM with further spiritual teachings. Semyaza explains that this self, which is the life of the life, existing for eternity, can indeed not be proven materially. It is of a pure spiritual form and nature, yet a rational being requires no proof, because the spirit itself is its own proof. The human has to fight his own stupidity and acknowledge that the material intellect constitutes no human, if he does not also cooperate in the same measure with spiritual intellect. She says, the human learns of his spirit only through meditation, and knows it through inner contemplation, through deep sinking in the stillest chambers of the spiritual self, and meanwhile he takes the direct view in the mirror of the inner life. In the OM we are also taught how prayer is a good way of connecting with the spirit of creation within us. Creation doesn't demand or require our prayers, but we can come to know it this way. OM says millions of people believe in prayer but see no success from their prayers. Either they request the fulfillment of wishes that are not fulfillable, or they believe with the apparent prayer that they have already given over their entire obligation to creation. However, they are believers and are not knowing, thereby they believe and do not know, and execute their prayers accordingly. According to our free will we can carry out addresses, prayer and worship to creation, which brings us into communication with the fragment of creation spirit within ourselves, which, through this kind of prayer, would be addressed and formed in an inspired way, and in true knowledge, love, wisdom and truth. Prayer is directed to the power of creation, or to the fragment of spirit in the human, or to the material consciousness of the material unconsciousness, so that it stimulates active powers in us and brings them to effect. Whether a prayer is directed to the creation, or to the material consciousness form itself, the fragment of creation spirit in the human would be addressed and stimulated, and the prayer would be effective through the good hope and the knowledge of the human that the spirit, through its power, truthfully imparts help. OM contains further teachings about prayer, including that it should not be self-seeking or hypocritical, but honest. The prophets tell us that the creation spirit does not require many words. But to pray successfully we require the knowledge that the spirit is powerful and great and infinite in its power, through which the human may truly transfer mountains from one place to another place. We should execute our prayers as knowing and righteous ones, and so we should pray logically in our own prayers or in prayers of general value. A prayer reminiscent of what we have come to know as the Lord's Prayer is presented in OM as a guide for how to pray. A slightly shorter version with subtle differences also exists in the Talmud Yemanuel, as delivered by the prophet Yemanuel. I provide the Talmud Yemanuel version below, which is accompanied by an official English translation. From Talmud Yemanuel, Chapter 6, Alms, Fasting, Treasures, Concerns, verses 11-18. Therefore pray as one who knows, thus you should pray as follows: My spirit, you exist within omnipotence. May your name be holy. May your kingdom incarnate itself within me. May your power unfold itself within me, on earth and in the heavens. Give me today my daily bread, that I may recognize my wrongdoings and the truth. And lead me not into temptation and confusion, but deliver me from error. For yours is the kingdom within me and the power and the knowledge forever. Amen. The prophet teaches that there is great comfort in creation and in following the creational laws. One of the thousands of proverbs of wisdom from OM says, Human, honor the creation, therewith you will be fearless within, because alone the honor of the creation makes you free from human fear. And in Canon 34 we have the following familiar sounding verse. Creation is